Hey everyone, it's Dominic from the Primetime Treasure eBay store and YouTube channel. It's a little bit before 8 o'clock in the morning, so eBay headquarters has not opened up yet. They promised to call me early this morning to let me know if I will be freed from eBay jail. I've been in it for about 1 day. I don't like it. I want to get some listings up, but in the meantime, I'm going to take matters into my own hands and just do some other things that I have some control over, which is hitting up an estate sale. So I'm gonna go head over to one right now and I'll turn the camera on when we get there. All right, we're here. Just gotta walk up this road a little bit. There's not a lot of cars outside so far that I can see. Part of it is that it's early. It's also a little chilly. So that tends to make people want to stay in bed when they wake up early and it's cold and they're under those warm blankets, but not here. I got here and we're gonna check this out, see what we can get. Okay, so this is pick and pull, but I got a heads up that back here in this box are some comics. Let's see what we got. Not bad. These are some older issues. Not great titles though, but some of these aren't bad. You know, these 20-cent issues, they go back to the 1970s, so some of them are combat related. I mean, generally, Archie ones aren't that great, but if they're 15-cent issues, that's a little bit better than the modern ones. So definitely just pick those up if you get a nice collection of them. There's some other ones down here on the bottom that look pretty good. It's from 1969. This one's damaged, so I'll leave this one. I just wish there were superhero ones like Batman and Spider-Man and stuff, but there's none of those so far. I don't know much about this treasure chest one. This is a cool Howdy Doody item, but there's no market for it anymore. Yeah. No one wants Howdy Doody stuff. Most people don't even know who Howdy Doody is anymore.
No, I sold one earlier this year.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I got.
It's tough.
I had bought
yeah, you gotta find.
Much.
Yeah, you gotta find the guy in his 70s who remembers it when he's younger and wants it.
I had bought a doll collection.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, this one on the other hand is kind of interesting. It's a Mattel doll. It goes back to 1950. Not exactly sure who the character is. I tried looking it up, cannot find it. But the pull string still works. So, pull this up here. It's muffled, but since there's no comp for it, it's Mattel, it's old. Definitely gonna pick it up, see what we can get out of it. So this here is a nice vintage Goofy doll. Now, it's supposed to make sounds and laugh and stuff. Problem is the mechanism doesn't work. In fact, if you unzip the back of it, you'll see that it's just gone. It's not even in here anymore. If it was in fully working condition, this one would be worth approximately $250, but like this, it's not going to have much value, so I'm going to leave it here for the $20 price tag. There is a lot of stuff here. Just have to take your time. So here's another room. It's kind of messy. Some people just ran out of here because they said it's just too much and they're overwhelmed by it. In fact, disturbed by it. But for me, I love this kind of stuff. Because if you take your time, you find something like this, which are these vintage karate books. And these particular ones by this author, minimum about $10 a piece. Could get more for them. But if you have a lot of them, like this, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, just grab this one too, 9, 10, 11, you just made yourself a great score. This series, not just the author, but this series, Best Karate, is a popular vintage series. Okay, so I gathered these together, and as you can see here, we have issues 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So it's very good that we have a pretty good continuous run. That makes it more sellable. Now, unfortunately, number 7's not there. So I went back and checked, and sure enough, there's number 7. So now it's even more sellable than it was before. So always make sure you go back and check that kind of stuff. Continuous runs are definitely good for selling. So one of the things I pulled out of there, it was in one of the drawers. I just couldn't film at the time. There were just too many people near me. But was this trivet. I've shown trivets before. This is a nice wooden hand-carved trivet of a turtle. The price on it is $2. This will sell for $20 or more, so it's a nice little item to get up there, get some quick profit on, and goes out first class. It's pretty light. So overall, remember, that one was $2. This one I'm pretty excited about. It had a sticker price of $10 on it. I'm gonna pull this string again so you could hear it a little bit. So I can't really make out what he says, but it doesn't really matter too much because at least he still works. So he works, he's vintage. It's pretty amazing he works considering this thing goes back to 1950. I've got to try to identify, I don't even know if it is an actual specific character. It could just be a general kind of bad guy, you know, like a black hat looking bad guy with no actual character name. I don't know, I'm going to look more into it. If anyone knows, let me know, but I couldn't find anything just doing a quick search. But the reason I picked it up is because it's Mattel. Mattel's one of those brands that, you know, most of the stuff made by them that's vintage goes for good money. So that's why I picked it up. Now, it had a $10 sticker price on it. These had no sticker price on it. The karate books and the comic books was a nice little score. Wound up being a stack of 30 of them. They're all old vintage books, 20-cent, 15-cent books. So very happy with these. When I went up to check out, and again, this is one of the reasons why it's important to just develop these close relationships with the estate sale dealers for two reasons, actually, in this instance. I actually had a heads up on these comic books last week because I was talking to her and I said, hey, you know, just so you know, comic books the main interest of mine. Do you ever come across any? If so, you know, let me know, blah, blah. She said, well, the sale next week, there's comics. So I said, wow, really? She goes, yeah, not a ton, but there's some. So when I got there, I said, hey, you know, where's those comics you're telling me about? And so she brought me right down to them. That helped because about 5 minutes afterwards, someone came to that exact box and was going to try to grab all those comic books out of there. So definitely helped me get them. Someone else would have definitely grabbed all of them. So the other reason is that when I just asked for just total general price, she just said, you know what, just give me $15 for everything. So I got every single thing there for $15. All those books, all the comics. So it winds up being a great score. I mean, you know, you really just can't complain about that. So I'm going to move on to some other sales and see what we can pick up there. All right, now this sale here is in the middle of nowhere, although a car just came through in the middle of nowhere. But it is a sale that I decided to go to because the ad said there's 100-year-old worth of material. So that sounds interesting to me. Don't normally see that. Normally you'll see something like 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, but 100 years worth of material, I'm in for that. So just got to find exactly where it is, and it should be coming up here somewhere soon. I just saw the sign for it, and here we go. Looks like it's in this old house here, which I love it. Look at that. Check out how old that is. I mean, that house has been there probably since the 1800s. You know, this probably looks to you, if you watch American Pickers, like an American Pickers episode, because you know it's really what it's like. This is a pretty rural area, as you could tell, and we're gonna hit up this house and see what's in there. I'm excited. Not a lot of people here, not a lot of competition, so let's have at it. Stuff outside and hopefully a lot of good stuff inside. I'll do the usual. Anything interesting I could point out while I'm here, I will. If I have to save it for the car later on, I'll do that as well. Now this stuff out here looks fairly modern, so I'm guessing that the more vintage stuff is inside. None of this stuff here on the table is anything I'm really going to have any interest in. This ceramic type stuff, I pass on all this kind of stuff. So let's head inside and see what's in there. So apparently this place has been pretty picked through this morning, so I've really got to be strategic and try and find the things that other people may have missed. This is a perfect candidate because you see a bread bag and people don't look in these types of things usually, but if you open it up, you'll see that there's a bunch of vintage wood stamps with different letters of the alphabet. So definitely worth picking up here. There's a whole bunch of them in here. So I don't think the prices here are too out of line from what I could tell. So this would be a nice one. Could maybe get like 50 bucks out of it or something. Hopefully, we'll see. I do advise picking up old vintage maps if you can. You have to look them up, but this one is a map of Oneida Lake, which is here in central New York. And this one's extra cool because it is a fisherman one and it dates back to the 50s. So I am definitely going to pick this up. I've done a little research on these maps in this area and it should sell. It won't make a huge profit, but you know, it might sell for like anywhere between $30 and $50 maybe max. So worth picking up. Little tip here, if you could find one of these containers to put it in, definitely pick that up because it will get thrown in for free, and now you have a free shipping container that you could use. It's too big for this one, but I have other posters that I could ship this out in. So again, just a little tip. So unfortunately there wasn't too much stuff in that house. A lot of ceramics even inside the house that I didn't bother filming. Some big furniture pieces and stuff that I'm not into, obviously. Not going to sell that kind of stuff on eBay unless you were selling locally, but I really don't have a place to put like big furniture pieces like that. So, but anyway, so I wound up getting the wood stamps and wound up getting that map, and that was about it. Put it in this container here, so that's good. So I got another shipping container. Got everything for $5, so that's pretty decent. I'm gonna move on to the next thing, but before I do, I wanted to just give a few thoughts and stuff on the whole eBay jail thing. So I have had a chance to look at a lot of the comments that people have left for me, and I'm just very thankful. Everyone very supportive. I cracked up on Instagram. Someone started a hashtag movement, free primetime, which is hilarious. Candyman, I don't know if he's watching this video, but he put that up, so that really cracked me up, gave me a little chuckle. A couple thoughts and a couple just updates. I did contact eBay to see if there's been any decision on this appeal. So you know, if this does happen to you, you are allowed to make an appeal for reinstatement, not for selling the items that were banned, but for being able to sell in general. While eBay does have to take the items off, it's their that's just law. That's just what they have to do. They have to take it down when someone files the Vero complaint. If you don't know what I'm talking about, by the way, you're brand new to this video, just check out my prior video on getting put in eBay jail. But most of you probably are aware of what happened with the Jack Daniels signs. But anyway, I'm trying to get free so I could at least sell some other items over the next 6 days now, because yesterday got completely knocked out. So you are able to file this appeal. Now, back in the old days when this happened, you were able to take a small little course on eBay's website about the Vero program. And once you took the course, then you were allowed to sell your items again. They don't have that anymore, unfortunately. So you do have to call and ask for a courtesy reprieve. And because I've been selling on eBay since 2000 with no issues previously, you know, top rated seller, all that kind of stuff, I'm hoping that for, you know, being with them for 18 years that they allow this appeal to go through. So we'll see. You know, a couple thoughts about just things in general with this. You know, this is why I have, and there's other reasons, but this is one reason why I have not done any movement into shifting into a full-time reselling job. My regular full-time job at the hospital is just much more stable, and you know, with the wife and 2 kids, I need to have a stable form of employment. And you know, at any moment with eBay, you're selling on someone else's platform, anything can happen where they just take you down, and then you know, you're out of income if that's your main source. Which is why, you know, if you are doing full-time reselling, this is a good example of why you definitely need to diversify platforms. So cross-posting things onto Poshmark, selling things on Craigslist, getting involved in Amazon, FBA, that type of stuff is real important. So those are my thoughts for now. If I get any update along the way, they are supposed to call me back before the end of the day. So hopefully I'll have an update for you on what happened with this appeal. So I'm going to move on, see if I can find anything at some other sales. Okay, we're outside of a store closing. It says everything must go. I've never been in this store before, so we'll see what kind of stuff is in here. I've never heard anything great about it, but we'll give it a shot, you know, just in case. Just so you see, this is the kind of stuff that's in here. It's this kind of gift shop. I'm sure many of you have seen these before. Lots of breakables, just not the type of stuff that I'm interested in dealing with in my eBay business. So this type of stuff I'm really just going to pass on, but just wanted to show it to you. This is it's partly inside, but there's an outside part too, but not much here for me. Much the same in here, just not anything that I'm going to get for eBay, that's for sure. So one of the things I like to do when things are not quite going right, if I'm frustrated about something, stressed out a little bit, I like to go out and buy myself something good to eat. And Sicilian pepperoni pizza, I love it. So, got 2 slices right here. A plain one here. Pepperoni, take a little break, got a little something to drink, and we'll see where we take it from here. Just one of my little strategies. All right, so right now we are at a house sale. So it's inside and there's a little bit outside. So hopefully we get some here. This is not run through an estate sale company. It is run through a family, so we'll check it out, see if there's anything good in there. So it turns out that the sign was misleading. It is not actually a house sale. A house sale should be when the whole house is open. This was a garage sale. It was the garage and it was some stuff on the driveway. So it's very frustrating when the signs are not accurate, but wasn't a total waste of time because I did pick up these 2 items that I just showed you. And when I zoomed in was the bottom. And I've mentioned this before, but if you ever see this symbol right there, TSR, and it's from the 1980s, even some of the 1990s. Pick it up. Even honestly, some modern TSRs. Or if it's older, there's even some in the 70s. Pick them up because they are role-playing games and they are generally very popular. I've not seen these particular ones before for Indiana Jones. TSR does a lot of the Dungeons and Dragons series. So these, you know, probably 20 bucks a piece, and combined together, maybe even a little more. So it was a no-brainer for $2 a piece at the sale here. So we're gonna move on, see if we get anything else to the lot. All right, so we are at an estate sale. This one really is an estate sale. I know the guy who organized it, and we are in one of my favorite cities, a nice old suburb of Syracuse called Salve. I do very, very well here almost every time. It's like 99%. So I'm hopeful I'll find something here. I don't know. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and the sale's been going on since the morning, but you never know. It might be some lingering things I could pick up here. Let's see. Love this Don Mattingly Hitman sign. One of the most famous modern New York Yankees. This is a classic image of his. I'll have to find out how much this is, but my wife's a big Don Mattingly fan anyway, so might pick it up for Mrs. Primetime, even if I don't sell it. All right, that was the garage. I just sent a picture of the Don Mattingly to Miss Primetime, so we'll see if she wants dibs on it. She actually just texted me, nah. So problem is he wants $10 for it. I'm not gonna pay $10 for that sign, but you know, if I get enough stuff, he may make a deal for me on it. So I'm gonna look around here, see if we can find anything here. So I've shown you all this in a different video. This is vintage Italian liqueur, Galliano. It's good if everything with it is intact, and this one isn't bad. It does have the sword here. It does have the feather hat, but unfortunately you could see here there's some chipping, and even something like that really takes the value down on it, and it's really something I'm going to pass on because of that. I don't like selling these things with those kind of defects on them. It doesn't have the tax stamp on the back, which would be a nice selling point if it did, because these were all imported. It does not have the label on the back. There's supposed to be a label here. So with all those things together being problems with it, I'm going to skip out and not get it. But if you were able to find it with no chips, if it had the label on the back, especially if it had the tax stamp, then you should pick it up. You could get it without the tax stamp, which would run right along here. You could even see here, this tape right here, right on the back, that tape mark, that's where the tax stamp used to go. At least part of it did. So I'm gonna pass it up. And this little guy here, he's too damaged, so we're just gonna pass up on him. Okay, little tip here for you. When you see these bins filled with books, there's a temptation just to look through this stuff here, but don't ignore what's sitting on the side. This really throws me back, because look what we found here. This throws me back to 2000 when I started selling on eBay, and I found these. These sell really well. There's not even current comps for them. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what they go for right now, but probably like $30, $40, $50, maybe even more. Now this one's colored in a little bit. I think that's the only page that has a little bit of coloring in it. And this one does too, but otherwise they're in pretty good shape. They're so rare from 1982. I normally don't pick up things that are colored in, but Pac-Man does have such a huge following that I am going to pick both of these up. I think they'll still sell, even though there's a little bit of coloring in them. All right, well, I have very, 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 very good news to report that I am free from eBay jail. I just got off the phone with a supervisor after taking matters into my own hands. Right during that estate sale I was just in, after I found those Pac-Man coloring books, I was walking around a few rooms, I checked my email, and sure enough, now I didn't find anything else in the house that was worth getting, but I checked my email, and it was extremely frustrating because yesterday I made it very, very clear to multiple people who I dealt with in eBay's restriction department and in the initial representatives who I spoke to that I was not disputing or appealing the actual Jack Daniel's Vero claim. I agreed to abide by that decision, to respect that decision. the wishes of the Jack Daniels company, and I would not list the signs anymore on eBay. What I was simply asking is consistent with prior eBay practices, that as a long-standing goods seller since 2000, top rated, 100% positive feedback, that they grant me a courtesy reprieve from the 7-day selling restriction that prevents me from putting up any new items for sale or revising existing listings. I mean, that's really tough to deal with for a 7-day period. I mean, I could, but it's definitely frustrating, and you want to get that lifted if you can. So the email comes through after they explained to me that they understood what I was saying. The email comes through and says, we've reviewed your case, and we have carefully reviewed it and decided that the case was decided properly and that the signs should have been removed for trademark infringement. Well, that's not what I was appealing. I'm like, what is going on here? Nothing at all about the 7-day restriction in the email. Again, that's all I was requesting be removed. So at that point, after trying to deal with the regular representatives and trying to explain myself, make myself clear, at that point, you need to step it up and advocate for yourself more. So at that point, I asked to speak to a supervisor. I explained the situation to the initial person who I spoke to. That person, it's interesting because this is the regular person who picked up the phone when I called eBay, said to me, because I asked for a supervisor, said, well, I could put you through with someone in the restrictions department. I don't really have a supervisor there you could speak to. You could speak to my supervisor, who's a seller's supervisor. So I said, well, who's going to be most likely able to resolve this? So the person said, someone in the restrictions department. So I'll put you on hold. So I said, okay. So I'm on hold, and she comes over, says, sorry, I'm still waiting for somebody. I'm getting you in touch with a supervisor. I said, wait a minute. I thought you said that the restrictions department would be able to solve this better than someone who is a supervisor. And the person said, no, actually, I tried talking with someone from the restrictions department, and they said they can't remove your 7-day restriction, which is not true. From everything I've read and from everything I've heard, that is not true. But regardless, she put me through to the supervisor. The supervisor was awesome. Her name was Mary. She did an amazing job. She heard what I had to say. She took my history into account with eBay, saw everything that I mentioned earlier in terms of having a top seller status. And she said, given the situation, I'm definitely going to take down this 7-day restriction, and I'm going to let you put listings up immediately. And sure enough, I tested it once we got off the phone, and I was able to put up a new listing. So everything is all set. I am back. I've said this on Instagram, but thank you to Candyman, who started a free primetime movement, which really cracks me up, a hashtag free primetime. So that really cracked me up. Thanks for all the support for all of you on YouTube. Everyone's been amazingly positive and supportive. I thank you a lot. I'll probably do a further reflection video on just this whole experience, but it is really important to just stay calm in these situations, in these types of situations, and it's usually not often as bad as it initially looks when this or just other bad things in life tend to happen. So you just gotta, like I said, you gotta advocate for yourself, stick up for yourself, and try to focus on what you could control. I got a lot of great things today at the estate sale. If I would have sat home all depressed, waiting to talk to eBay, pacing back and forth, I never would have got all this stuff done. So I want to have these great items that now I can list. So you've got to just, try to control what you could control and take it forward from there. So that's it for today. I hope you liked the video. Drop a comment, question, anything down below. Thanks for all the great ideas on what to do with the Jack Daniels signs. I will be following up on different leads and see what I could do with regards to that. If you liked the video, again, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Instagram. That's at PrimetimeTreasure. No S, and make sure you come to the Facebook group, the Facebook Reselling Resource Center. The link to that's down below. I'll see you all at the next video, and looking forward to it. So take care, everybody.